Hello again, it's Trevor here, and thank you for tuning in. This video is all about what exams are. Exams are a test usually carried out under strict requirements, for example in silence or under very strict and controlled time constraints. And they are a test of your abilities in a certain subject area. So they could be a practical exam in nature, they could be a written exam, or it could be a spoken exam where you present your case or defend your arguments orally. So for example, you could be a trainee barista being assessed on how you make a cafe latte, cup of coffee, and you have to do that within a certain number of minutes to a certain standard. Or you could be in a university and you're asked to write an essay on a particular topic given to you during the exam. So exams have disadvantages, but they also have some advantages. So this might, once you understand these things, help you prepare and revise well and understand what's coming up in the exam and why do we have exams in the first place. Well, I think everyone feels stressed when they are under exam conditions because it is your ability, your capabilities, your knowledge that are being tested, and you have that usually a time constraint or somebody watching you as you're doing your work. They also encourage you to remember a lot, what is called rote learning. So you might cram things into your memory if you're able to do that before the exam. You might hold most of that information in your memory during the exam, that information you can recall during the exam, but usually after the exam, especially a few days or a few weeks after the exam, those things tend to get forgotten, those things that you've crammed into your memory. So that sort of rote learning isn't always the best way of learning. And also, of course, exams disadvantage people who don't behave very well under stressful conditions. Some people thrive in that stressful environment where others feel very worried, very anxious, and they just kind of fall to pieces. Tests and exams also, by their very nature, test only a small part of the curriculum, only a very small part of the entirety of your learning in that subject. So for example, if you've learned how to make 10 different types of coffees, if you're a trainee barista in a cafe, and the exam is just focusing on a cafe latte, then nobody's looking at your abilities to make the other types of drinks. There's a final disadvantage in that if exams are poorly designed, they only test a small part of the curriculum. A teacher could be a bit lazy or just very focused on a particular pet subject within the course that you've studied and write the exam questions focused on that small area. Also, the questions, if they're not really well thought about and designed thoughtfully, then those questions perhaps don't test what they should be doing during the exam itself. Exams do, however, have some advantages, and it's worthwhile keeping these advantages in your mind if you can, because it helps you keep positive about the exam or exams that you are facing. So exams are useful because firstly, they show you how much you do actually know. And sometimes, especially if you finish an exam and think to yourself, well, I answered all those questions really, really well, or I made that cafe latte really, really excellently, then you can leave the exam feeling very positive and very happy about it. Exams also focus students' attention on a subject, and it's probably one of the few times in your life that you are actually forced to think and concentrate and dedicate your time on that particular subject or ability that you are studying. And that can be really useful because it boosts your knowledge, your understanding. It forces you to fill any gaps in your learning that have occurred during the course. So they help you realize also the subjects that you enjoy, that you like, that you are good at, and that you know a lot about. And equally as useful sometimes, they make you realize about the subjects you don't really like, those that you aren't very good at, and those that perhaps you should leave behind if you can. The exam results that you get after the exam also are useful because they tell future employers or future university academics, if you want to go on to further study, about your abilities. And this helps employers pick the right people for them to employ in that job. Also, exams aren't just a measure of your ability, but they are also a measure of the ability of the teacher, of the class, of the school, and of the university. And exam results are used in league tables to compare schools and colleges and universities, as well as teachers, against one another to make sure that everything is working properly and there aren't any exams that are going a bit skewed away from the average. So for example, if one school does consistently well and all their students get really high grades, whereas most of the schools nearby are getting average grades, then perhaps there's something not quite right going on there. Also, exam results and exams themselves are used by professional accreditation bodies to provide evidence of ability of students who've passed those exams. So for example, if you want to become a trained environmental management system auditor, then you have to do an auditor's course and pass an exam to become an accredited professional. So for that professional sort of badge of ability, exams are really, really important. So hopefully I've given you a brief overview of what exams are, what you can expect, and the disadvantages and some of the advantages of exams. So hopefully this has been a useful film for you. If you've liked it, please give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks very much. See you around. Bye.